Hey, what's up, YouTube? Thanks for stopping by the channel. Thanks for checking us out today. We've got a great one for you. We have completed our install of our Holley EFI Terminator XMAX EFI system for our 454 big block that is in our 1972 C10 Custom Deluxe pickup here. We did this restoration as a tribute to my uncle. This was his truck, and when he passed, he left it to us. There's a good story that we'll go into that a little bit later. But we're going to go over the details of the install, kind of where we placed everything, how it works, what we've got going, and we've got some driving footage for you. If you haven't already, guys, like, share, subscribe. Please hit that subscribe button so that way we can give you guys more content. The support's been great. We can't thank you enough, but lets us bring you better content, more content in the future. Well, let's get into it today, guys. Okay, first I just want to kind of go around, give you an idea of just the truck, the paint. This is 1972 single coat lacquer paint. This is factory paint. All in all, in really good shape. We, on a previous video, did some buffing and some polishing and those things, and you can see here the reflection in the paint, and we haven't even really gotten really crazy into this yet as far as the paint correction, but some patina, some dings. We're going to leave it that way. We don't want to repaint it, especially like the patina here on the front of the hood. But just kind of looking at this, we're going to end up doing a paint correction just a little bit, and then we're going to end up clearing it, and that's all we're really going to do. But we kept it as original as we possibly could as a tribute to my uncle. And we're going to go over what we've done here with the big block and the EFI. All right, so open up the hood here. Just kind of give you an idea of what we're looking at here. This is a 454 big block. Now, this truck was not originally a big block truck. This truck originally had a 350 small block in it that we pulled out. My uncle always wanted a big block, and I ended up actually getting a really good deal on a 454 big block that a fellow I know, that actually the guy that built the transmission in this, and he was taking it out of his Nova and asked if we'd be interested, and obviously we were. So we went ahead. It's got a pretty mild to moderate cam, nothing crazy. You guys will hear it here in a little bit. Edelbrock Performer 2.0 intake. Obviously the Terminator XMAX fuel injection sits on there like a carburetor, and we'll show you that. I'll take the air cleaner off. Stock heads, I do have a set of Dart Pro 1 aluminum heads that will probably go on once they get back from the machine shop, and we'll go over there. As you can see, kind of here on this side over here, we have the ignition coil here, the Sniper EFI Hyper Spark. That's connected there, just mounted right in here. And then over here, we'll get a better picture of it, is the Terminator EFI, or ECU for the EFI, actually mounted here. We were thinking about putting it into the glove box, but we didn't want to poke a hole or drill a hole through the factory firewall. This is waterproof. It's not a big deal. Just see it here. It looks good in my opinion here, but the Hyper Spark, the EFI, and then we'll go over the way the EFI sits on there like an actual carburetor. As you can see here, the Terminator Max EFI, the actual fuel injection here, looks just like a carburetor, really. I mean, if you peeked in here and you didn't know any better, you would think that was a carburetor. You wouldn't have any idea. It's just the fuel injection, the way the fuel rails look. I mean, it looks like a carburetor. Now, we had a Demon carburetor on here that we took off. That was a pretty good carburetor. It was just a little bit much for a street car, but this is perfect. Again, just kind of looking at it on this side. Works just like, I mean, there's throttle cable connected obviously to the throttle pedal, and looks like a carburetor. I mean, you hit the gas, you pull the throttle, the fuel injection dumps the fuel in, and then there's an actual oxygen sensors on the headers that I don't think I can see from here, but we'll try to get a view. We'll see. That monitors the mixture coming out, and then it'll adjust the air-fuel ratio. I think the target's right 14 is what he has it set at, and it does a good job. We originally had like a cog drive on here that the motor came with. Did not like that. It actually came off while we were on the dyno. So we went ahead with a V-belt system here that we have put on, and then new alternator. The alternator on the other one died. The battery kind of shit out on that too. Again, power steering. This is not an air conditioning car or truck originally. We thought about putting it on, but decided against it just to keep it more to the original. Again, when we restored it, we did a new master cylinder, power disc brakes, all the good stuff as far as stopping and going goes from there. But just kind of how the harness is routed here as far as sensors, and I'll show you. It gets you temp, air, fuel, spark. It gives you all that stuff, and it self-learns. It's a closed loop. So did restore the entire interior of the truck. We'll go over that a little bit more here in a second. All right, kind of more on the interior of the truck here. We took the bench seat out. We had it reupholstered to the factory order that was done. We actually took out the carpet. I know it needs vacuum, please don't judge me. We took out the carpet. We put in the sound guard. You can see just a little piece of it here kind of poking out under the back. The heat guard, the sound guard, redid all of that, the whole entire part of this. We put a brand new fuel tank in, and then we ordered new carpet and put it again. It does need clean. Now I kept this steering wheel. This was, my uncle had put this on. It's a Corvette steering wheel, actually. You can see the cross flags there. He kept that. He actually had Corvette valve covers on his 350 that he put in here as well. But I wanted to keep this just kind of as a tribute to him. I'm going to get somebody to leather wrap this as well, because this kind of old vinyl is kind of starting to wear pretty good. But I'm going to have somebody leather wrap that. But just a little bit better look at the interior here. I mean, this truck sat in his garage for 30 years. It's absolutely amazing shape. I actually have the factory radio that I'm going to put in and just kind of wire it just for AM/FM, but have the factory radio that I'm going to do, and then we'll tuck the rest of these wires up out of the way. But wanted to go over that for you as well. And before we get more into more of the moving and the shaking on the vehicle here, we have the Western wheels, the mag wheels that were on, that my uncle had put on, and we kept those as well. So wanted to keep it, like I said, as original to my uncle's spec as he had. The C10 Custom Deluxe emblems there. We do have the 454 emblems. I don't know if we're going to put those on, but we'll see. But just kind of, again, just giving you a once over of the truck here after it's done and what it looks like. And then we'll get some driving footage here very shortly of it. So the other thing we wanted to address, other than just leaving the wheels that my uncle had, was the stance. This thing was pretty high, but as you can see now, it sits awesome. It's got a tiny bit of a rake to it, but the fender gap is almost perfect, both front and back. We actually did drop spindles on the front, 2.5-inch drop spindles on the front with big block Chevy springs, and then on the back we just did drop springs. We didn't have to do anything of that. New shocks and struts all around, so the ride is amazing, but we had to get the stance right. These trucks, when they're low like this, look mean, and this truck going down the road looks amazing. So just, we had to address that. We could not go with the truck sitting this much higher on these wheels with this kind of setup that we went with. So I think the stance is perfect. Let us know in the comments what you guys think. All right, just kind of getting the stance again one more time just so you guys can see how nicely that sits. But people have been asking me at the garage about the plates. You know, so when we were younger, my brother, very young, could not pronounce my uncle's name, so somehow it came out Weewo. I don't know where that came out of, nobody knows, but that stuck with him the rest of his life. We called him Weewo. I called him Weewo. My dad, who was his brother, called him Weewo. My kids called him Weewo. You know, my brother's kids called him Weewo. So when we got time to do a plate for this truck, when I asked my son, who kind of the story goes is that, you know, he and my uncle, my son and my uncle, were talking about restoring this truck as he got later into life. My uncle had it torn apart for 20 years, and my uncle would send my son home with homework, you know, hey, you know, before we get into this, you need to learn the firing order of a small block Chevy, and then would come back and, you know, okay, great, now you need to tell me how to find tap dead center and these type of things. So they were kind of getting into this project, and my uncle got sick and struggled with cancer and heart disease and some other things and finally passed, but never got around to actually doing the restoration. So when I talked to my son, I was like, hey, we need to do plates for this thing. What do you want to do? And that's what he came up with, was for Weewo, because that's what this truck was done for, was for my uncle. Again, an emotional process, start to finish, getting it done. An emotional drive home today, but let's get into that driving footage so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Who doesn't love that big block idle? I mean, listen to that. Wow. That is freaking awesome. sat in my uncle's garage for 30 years, and now it lives. This is one of the most emotional car moments I've had in my life.
At the next stop sign,
I mean, just so emotional here, guys. I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say. Just cruising on the highway, going home, getting this thing back to the house. And what a wonderful, just cruising along here, getting our C10 back to the house after the Terminator install. What a great moment. All the factory gauges work. Definitely going to need to change the speedo gear in the transmission because it says we're going 80, but we're not going that. That's for sure. We don't have enough transmission to go 80 miles an hour. But I am loving this truck, guys. This is amazing. 2 years of my life well spent. Well spent. I'm just so emotional right now. It's overwhelming. We grew up in this truck, my brother and I. My uncle took us fishing, doing burnouts, racing. I'm just going to enjoy the moment for a while, guys. Okay, guys, so that's about it for today. Like I said, just a short one. We wanted to go over the Terminator XMAX, just kind of how it's set up there with the little display that you have, where we mounted it, why we put it up there, because we didn't want to punch a hole in the firewall, and just kind of, you know, you can hear the truck idle, hear the truck, you know, rev. That was a cold start I gave you. It's been sitting here for a while. And then the driving footage of us driving it home. It was pretty emotional driving it home. I'm not going to lie. You know, we grew up in this truck, my brother and I. My uncle came and picked us up all the time. He took us fishing. He took us to Six Flags. He took us all over the place. He would come into the neighborhood, put it into low gear, do burnouts. All the kids would love it. So, you know, this truck is a big part of my childhood. So it was pretty emotional getting it finally completed. We had it running with the Demon carburetor that we had on here, but it was a real pain in the butt with the cold starts, and sometimes, you know, when it would get hot and then it would take forever, you have to let it cool and then restart it. So just not the reliability that I wanted to take it on longer trips or cruise to longer trips without having to worry about having to fiddle with it to get it going again. So this is a dream come true. The Terminator XMAX has been fantastic. I actually love the Holley EFI stuff. We have a Dominator on our Mach 1 Coyote Boss 302 swap car that, you know, we run standalone EFI on that. We don't even run the factory electronics. We have the digital dash that we run. But on this car, we wanted to stay as original as we could. We have the factory gauges that still work. We just wanted better control of the, you know, air fuel management and much more reliability. And again, emotional trip back home. It was great. It was a wonderful ride. It was like 30 minutes coming back just because I was cruising and wasn't going very fast on the highway. But it was a great day to be out, and I'm glad the truck is done. Thank you again for all your support, guys. You may notice some people that we have our DBM Racing shirt that we are on. We're going to be offering those shortly on our YouTube store. Once that gets up and running, we're in the process of getting approved for that. And also, we've been giving them away. We gave one away to Clark, who was our 500th subscriber in Oklahoma. Thank you, Clark. And we're going to be going to Caffeine and Octane. We're going to be going to car shows, Corvettes in Carlisle. And we're going to be having lots of swag to give away just so everybody can kind of get in on the action. But thank you for the support. Hit the like, hit the share, subscribe. Thanks for hanging out with us, guys, and we'll see you again next time.